Good evening, I'm Bryce McLeay, and welcome to Outside the House, the unofficial Big Brother After Show. It's day 51 inside the Big Brother house, and the dominant committee alliance has managed to keep from imploding for yet another week. However, as the house guests begin to dwindle down, the members of the committee will soon be forced to set their sights on each other. So, who will be the first internal target? We'll find out soon enough. But first, let's eavesdrop on the Outside the House team. First up, as always, is Rachel Swindler.
Hi.
Oh, you weren't Instagramming again this time.
No, was not Instagramming. I was just fixating on this pimple on my face. Like that. We're doing great.
Well, it looks like you've covered it up. It looks great.
I did the best I could.
And say hello to Mark Herman.
Swipe up. Oh, hey everyone.
Yeah,
How's
see,
it going?
somebody's got to do it. Before we get started, I just want to once again remind everybody to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe you should subscribe to our YouTube channel, but you should also hit the notification bell so you never miss your chance to take part in our live episodes and see your comments on the air. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so if you'd rather listen than watch, just open Spotify or Apple Podcasts and search Outside the House. Then click the subscribe button and please rate and review us. Finally, follow us on socials at From Outside the House on Instagram and at Outside BB House on Twitter. All right, tonight we are joined by a very special guest who is way more like the 4th of July than Christmas. From BB19, please welcome Elena Davies. Oh, she's gone.
Oh, no, she's not here.
Oh!
Well.
Did it. You freaked us out.
Oh man.
Elena, thanks so much for being
guys.
here.
Had to get something over there. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Well, Elena, what's one word that sums up this season for you?
Predictable. Boring.
Yeah.
Meh. Haven't been watching much.
Rachel, what about you?
Oh God. Boring. I hate when you do these things.
I know. I really just want to ruin everyone's mood. Okay, let's just get started sadly by a vote of 5-2. Davonne is evicted from the Big Brother house. So Rachel, are you surprised that Nicole and Danny voted to keep Davonne? Or are you?
Yeah, I was surprised. I don't know exactly what happened. I was very confused if they were actually, they told Davonne beforehand that they were voting to, sorry, I'm not even getting my words right. I was very confused, which clearly am now. I was surprised by it because I was thinking they would just go with their alliance, not to cause a commotion. So I don't know if that was a part of their jury management or not. So.
Yeah. Elena, what about you? What do you think about that?
I feel like it had 100% to do with Davonne's eviction speech. I don't know that they would. I kind of feel like it possibly was a last minute decision.
Really?
That Davonne said before they cast votes, possibly.
Speaking of Davonne's final plea, do you feel like when she was talking about Nicole from previous seasons, like she said Nicole stabbed her in the front in her final plea, do you think that she was speaking to directly to Nicole in that speech as well? Or do you think she was talking to the mostly the men in the house?
I really don't know. I'll be honest. Like I said before, I haven't been keeping up with it as much as I have. Like, for instance, Rachel's season. I was obsessed. I could have told you like entire conversations that happened in the but I think that Davonne is very aware of what's going on. And if she had any idea that Nicole might be lying about something, I feel like she would toss some subtleties in a speech like that because that's the kind of gal she is. And get Nicole thinking like, oh, are you on to me or like, oh.
That's very true. That's very true. Mark, what did you think of Davonne's final plea?
I thought it was great. I always like when people, kind of make a big dramatic speech. I mean, it's your last ditch effort at that point. Mm-hmm. And I agree that may have actually flipped Nicole's vote there.
And do you think that about Danny too, or do you think Danny was always going to keep Davonne?
I think Danny was always going to keep her. I mean, she genuinely campaigned from what I saw. I did miss last night's episode, to be completely transparent.
Wow,
and
you guys
10 hours, but
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, the recap show nobody watches.
Yeah.
That's the best way to.
That's the curse of BB22.
That is this season. Like everyone's just so freaking over this.
It's a hard season at this point to keep up with. But like we said last week, I don't know who said it, but the end of this game is going to be the best part of this game, hopefully, because now they have to turn on each other, and that's when it's going to get nice and juicy. So.
Well, and I definitely want to speak on that, Rachel, before we do, but I want to just say, do you think that like this is the Nicole and Danny now? Gosh, now I can't even speak. No, Nicole and Danny voting. Yeah, Nicole and Danny.
I know. I'm really
throwing masks. So, do you think that Nicole and Danny will this have ramifications moving forward now with their because they voted to keep Davonne? Is that going to piss off their alliance, or?
I mean, it's just singling them out on an island by themselves even more. I mean, we saw tonight Christmas, and I got to give it to Christmas. Christmas made, I was very impressed by Christmas doing, while the wounded lamb is down on the ground. And she said, come over here. And that's kind of like, I remember just similar, not to talk about my own season, but I did something very similar to that with Rockstar. Whenever Brett attacked her, I was right up in there right after, making sure I was talking to her, making sure she was okay, letting her know I was there for her. It's very smart for Christmas to do this and to give that little bit of information, because I mean, as we all know, David was very upset that no one believed him. And finally, somebody, gave him what is the word?
Olive branch.
An olive branch.
Extended the olive branch. And and now Christmas is looking like a savior. So,
well, so you're referring to basically Christmas going to David and telling him that Nicole was that she knows that he was not the one that flipped, and that Nicole was actually the one that flipped.
Yes.
Is that, and so that was, I agree. I think that was a smart move. But as someone who has played with Christmas, Elena, I want to know, I just want to know, as if you played with her, what do you think of her gameplay? I know you said you haven't been watching quite as frequently, but do you think this is on point from the last time she played, or? Is this something she would do? Is this something she would do?
I think that her game is not great. And also really bad for the rest of the house. A little bit.
Well, hey, I mean, listen,
I honestly think that our season, she did this whole broke her foot thing. I don't know if you heard about it.
What?
She broke her foot?
I don't know if you heard. Christmas on my season, she was on this season with me. So she broke her foot, and it happened for sure. You probably hadn't heard about it. And so she had to play a different game than I think she would have normally played. And I think she wanted to come in here this season and make sure to go a different direction. And she was probably disappointed in constantly being called one of Paul's minions. So she's trying to be extra super badass Christmas, crazy Christmas tough. More than is already surface level, which is 100%. And that is because real recognize real. I'm a crazy person too. And I know that. And so I can say that about her. And we've said that about each other to each other. And I think it's just it's not super palatable though this time. And
well,
she's not even playing an individual game. She's still clumping and doing other people's moves. So it's not accomplishing, I think, what I'm assuming her ultimate goal was.
even though she doesn't have to wear a stocking again this time. Sorry. I had to get one in there.
Ring the bell. Well, it's like kind of comes back to, because Elena, you actually put Christmas on the block, if I'm not correct, right? You went in, like,
I know I did not. I wish
you didn't.
Who put Christmas? She was only on the block at the very beginning of the season.
I don't think she was on the block.
Oh, Cody put on the block. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But I was gonna say, like, we're kind of seeing this. We saw in like her zing, which we're gonna get to the zings later. But we saw, like, Tyler basically was like, we have to live with Christmas after this, because she's very, as we've seen, she's very a little bit palpable and, you know,
Karen-like.
Fiery. Yeah, fiery.
I don't want to use the K word on the air, but definite Karen vibes.
But was she was she like that in your season? Was she, because now this season, like, she got mad at Davonne because Davonne made her a have-not after Christmas put Davonne on the block, and Christmas is like, I can't believe she would do this. Is she just like that, out of touch, sort of, or?
Yeah, there were little things that were kind of like, hey girl, like, where's your like logic in that? Like, your screaming thing you're doing. And it was always normally little things like, somebody ate the slop that somebody else made that I was gonna eat later. And it's like,
yeah.
Or her
I'm like,
is
so
apparently
sorry for you, but I don't care. So, but it would be like things like that where she would like explode about something, and I'm like, oh, something exciting, and I'm like, oh, no, she's mad about a pillow. Okay.
Yeah.
So this season is interesting because I didn't see that a ton from her. Her and I were actually super close at the beginning of my season. Like, we connected very quickly. And I feel like her and I would still kind of vibe if we were in person, honestly. Like, she does have a social game that's kind of, I don't know. She's a little bit like don't do anything to piss Christmas off, but also she's really cool too. If I'm being honest, like, there were times I just like vibed super hard with her.
Yeah.
That's really nice to hear, because I feel like she's kind of getting this, like, not very, I mean, would you agree, Rachel? I feel like she's kind of like she's not getting like the greatest rap with the fans. Now, maybe in the edits have been okay, but like with the fans and stuff, it feels like she's kind of this crazy person, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know her personally. And, you know, I do agree that I can see the tinge of craziness, and I'm crazy as well. And so if Elena can recognize the craziness on her, then that means that, because we're all crazy, all three of us.
Yeah, we're all crazy. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it out there. Like, no one is judging anyone for being insane, because frankly, I certainly am. And if
honestly,
you guys
we're all insane. The people that admit to being crazy and that just act out in their crazy, they're just the ones living their authentic lives.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
At home that like are polite and behave, you're just miserable doing that. Okay, let it out sometime. It's nice.
That's very, very true. Well, so we saw tonight that, like, what I've found out too is that Tyler is always spilling the tea in his goodbye messages. I know he did this on your season, Rachel. Rachel, do you have something that you are? Is that Rachel or no? Is that Nicole Franzel?
This is my Nicole Franzel wig.
She's trying to be me.
Or Elena, it could be your Elena wig.
Yes, it could.
Honestly, it's like really close to my color, TBA.
Actually, it is. It looks really nice. So, I had it positioned as my Nicole Franzel wig, but I took it out of it.
Were you going to put it on? We'll put it on when we talk about Nicole later.
Yeah, I might.
Nicole Franzel voice. Oh God, please tell me you do.
I do. I do have a Nicole Franzel voice.
Thank God.
I've got a red polka dot one piece bathing suit that I can grab for the Nicole segment.
Oh my God, mine. That would be fantastic. I have a lemon costume. It has nothing to do with anything. I got drunk the other night and bought it on Amazon for $40. So
you never know when you get invited to a lemon party
on your couch or something.
Yeah. Honestly, probably won't even bother to get up and put it on. So Fine.
Well, anyway, so Tyler is doing this thing now, which I know he did in season 20, where he kind of spills the tea when he's in his goodbye messages. And I just want to know, like, Elena, as a former member of the jury, like, does stuff like that convince you to be mad at other people? Like, is this a good plan? Did that happen to you too? Like,
100%. And also, I saw something on Twitter the other day that actually was pretty funny. And it was a clip from my vote on finale night. And they put Davonne's head on top of my head because I put the key in and I said, cut scene, no jury management, and cast my vote. And so I guess the implication was that Davonne's probably going to be making a similar decision, or like a similarly based decision. And she mentioned that tonight in her speech. But yeah, goodbye messages mattered. I wish that Paul would have been honest with me in his. He was like, hey, Elena, I love you like so much, girl. Like, I just wish I was sitting in final 2 with you. Like, I was gonna, just like run this entire house with you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you just voted me out.
Yeah.
You really felt that way? Like, you literally just went in there and said, hey, Jason, put Elena and Mark on the block. Whichever one goes is fine.
Yeah.
Do you get to see more goodbye messages when you get to the jury house as opposed to what is shown to you on air? So
No.
you just see what you see with Julie?
But I was a double eviction, so nobody had recorded messages for me. So I watched my messages in the jury house, but I still only got to see a handful, which I again think is very unfair because like that could matter. Yeah. I feel very strongly that we could see like a couple, like the clickbaity ones with Julie, and then at least get to watch the rest in the jury house, because what if Jason had made it to the final 2? Like, I don't know what he would have said to me. It's like, why he put me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I heard somewhere that they do show you all the messages. So that's interesting that they didn't show you.
Well, don't you feel like these messages are really cut? It's like boom, boom. It's like I have loved season. There's so much editing in these that it's kind of surprising. But like, Rachel, you played with Tyler, so do you think that this tactic effectively takes the spotlight off of him? Because clearly Davonne should be mad at him after everything that happened this week. She should be mad at him but yet she's mad at Memphis, which again is also not great. But I'm just curious, is like he's telling her something, he's being the messenger and kind of like giving her more information. So does that effectively make her not mad at him?
I don't know. I feel like, he's just doing the tactic of he's just being 100% in complete honesty, and he's doing jury management like he attempted to do on my season. But
Ooh.
Sorry. Well,
I think he did a decent job at it. Yeah, I don't think he did.
It was just the Bailey thing. I mean, it came down to Bailey's vote, and it was the vote that he said that he didn't really care about. So that was why I said
his whole end of this, like his whole questioning was not good, and I think that's what cost him the game. Not to talk about BB20, but like that, I feel like
he still won the real prize.
Yeah, but to answer the question, I do think that this is helping him. I think that this is great jury management, and I think it's very crucial to become clean in your goodbye messages. As we saw in early Big Brother, people were vindictive and nasty in their goodbye messages and would just like rip people apart, which is really amazing, which I wish could still happen to a certain extent, like the Rachel Riley days. But it is, but yeah, it's great jury management, and he's doing a good job at it.
I think it's a matter of like taking ownership of the game you're playing, and you do that more like in real time with the jury rather than letting them find out later. Like anything that can be productive in a vote, just like taking ownership of that, even if it's a play against that person. Like the number of times that Josh had to tell me, like, I wanted to get you out because like I was threatened by you in this area and this area. Like it's the way that you deliver and own your game, and then also placing blame somewhere else if you can do that. Goodbye messages, I think, are a really strategic, important part of the Big Brother game, and nobody utilizes them the right way. Then there's the other point that you made earlier about how choppy they are. You noticed that, right? Like how edited they are. So you can go in there and say, like, hey, Rachel, I'm so sorry I had to vote you out. I think that, like, your butt stinks. You're the worst. How long your toenails are. And also, you're just playing, like, too good of a game, and I had to get you out. And they could cut that up however they want, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, they put all that game stuff into Tyler's goodbye message. I'm just curious, did anybody else mention something that could have been helpful to a final 2 vote that a CBS producer cut out? I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if they spliced up Angela's goodbye message to me. Maybe she said something completely different. Maybe she was like, I really love you. I'm so sorry for this. And I want to be dressed.
She did not.
They really just played Tetris with her. Yeah. They were like,
hi, Rachel. I do like
that over there.
I just figured out what was wrong with Angela. It was
an editor.
Story producer on CBS.
It's only been 2.5 years, but we figured out what was wrong.
Yeah,
wow.
You're welcome.
That's what we're naming this episode, by the way. That's the name of this episode.
We finally found out what was wrong with Angela. We have some closure.
Well, the other, like, speaking of owning your game, because going back to Elena, what you said about Paul, like, hey, you wish you had owned his game. I want to talk about Nicole Franzel, because I think a lot of people are very, frustrated. We talked to Andy last week, Andy Herron, and he was saying how. So I know. So he was talking about how frustrating it is to watch her because she doesn't own her game. And I think that she has gotten better in the last couple of weeks, at least in the goodbye messages when she's told Ian and now she's told Davonne. But basically, Nicole came clean to Davonne in her goodbye message. But Day told Julie that she asked Nicole to tell her the truth because about David, because as a black woman, she did not want to be attacking a black man for something he didn't do. So I'm wondering, do you guys think Nicole should have told her before the eviction, before this goodbye message, or would Davonne have blown up the whole house? Mark, what do you think?
This is a kind of a hot take, but I
for
feel
sure.
Like her goodbye message was full of shit. Like that crying was not genuine. And, like I said last week on the feed, she was talking, about how she was going to cry when she had to vote to evict Ian. And she just, not to pile on to the so popular Nicole Franzel hate, like she's just being super disingenuous and it's showing. And I think it's really going to negatively affect her, especially if she makes it to the point where it comes down to her and someone else and the jury's going to vote on it. I'd like to think that people see through it and think that'll have an effect.
Well, I think that there is something to the effect of, like, okay, the move that they made, which Nicole, like, for you guys, if you remember, like, Nicole voted to evict Ian and not Tyler. They and then she went and pinned it on David. The thing is this move would have been, I would have said, like, this is a brilliant game move, like everything, whatever. It's a huge gamble, but it paid off. If Kevin or Davonne or David, not David, but if Kevin or Davonne had won HOH, after that happened, after Memphis won, there was really no reason to keep up this ruse, especially if Danny and Nicole were aligning, quote unquote, with Davonne. You know what I mean? Like, the reason why it worked out so well is because David has done a terrible job of lying and has gotten caught being shifty. But I just feel like at that point, even when we saw it in tonight's episode, Nicole's like, I got to tell her. It's like, just tell her. Like, why are you still lying about this? There's no point anymore,
Right. Yeah. And with David lying, I think it's not a bad thing for him to get a rap as being a crappy liar. Like, especially if he's actually good at lying. Maybe it could be a game thing.
I mean, though, but I'm saying, like, in terms of him lying, like, he's already gotten caught in lies, like with the power. Did you use the power on me? It's like, no, dude, I do not use. That's what I'm talking about. Like, Davonne
is like, yeah, man, I used it on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I mean, like, that's what I mean. It's like, it doesn't.
What's your middle name?
Yeah.
What's your first name? Yeah, like, I just thought that it was. I didn't understand why she hadn't told her, and especially knowing that now, like, I don't know that Davonne could have kept it close to the vest if she did tell Nicole, but it's beside the point at this point. If she is even at all your ally or your friend or personal or game, you should just tell her, because it was pointless. Like,
I will say, for like devil's advocate for Nicole, which like I'm not a fan, like I'm not friends with honestly anyone really left in the house other than Tyler and like a sprinkle of David. But
sprinkle.
That's my new cologne, actually. A sprinkle of David.
Yeah.
I don't know why my mind went somewhere really bad.
But I do feel like it's a slightly unfair for Davonne to be like, this is personal, this isn't game, because ultimately in the Big Brother house, 100% of everything is game, even when it's also personal. Like, there's nothing that can just be personal. Like, whenever I won a veto, it got brought up what kind of car I drove, like at home, not having anything to do with the game. So I can understand like the paranoia she might have of like, okay, if I'm honest now, like you weigh your pros and cons. Like, she knows Davonne. I would say like it's still a bad move to not tell her, because you know, like based on knowing her and her past gameplay and like what's important to her, that honesty would have weighed out in this situation. But it's also a risk that you're going to expose something in your game. And when there's a lot of money on the line, you make bad decisions usually. Trust me.
Rachel, what do you think? That was great.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really hot take, Elena, but which is true, because I mean, I think that her keeping it close to the vest, I believe was smart for her game. Because she was trying to protect her spot in the house. I do think that just because, again, like Elena said, because she's played with her before and she knows how Davonne can be, I maybe would have told her before we went live. Like, I would have done it right before and then would have done it that way and kept it close to the vest right until the eviction.
Yeah. Well, you guys, the feeds were down for like 22 hours or something last night, and we didn't see any. This is what I thought had happened, where Nicole had told Davonne and there was this big blow up or whatever, and then we see Davonne hugging Nicole and Danny, saying, "I love you, girl. I love you," this and that, and which is fine. That's great, but it was just surprising that it seems like Davonne really just found out in that goodbye message about all this, and she also seemed very like. Even keel, was like, all right, I'm put this to bed kind of thing. Like, I'm what is your thoughts on that, Rachel?
I'm just confused about because the feeds were down, and we won't know until maybe when the feeds come back up. I am confused when in her speech she said, Nicole stabbed me in the front. Was that because Nicole told her that she was about the vote?
I think she was referring to BB19.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Because Nicole told her
her vote, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. She was saying that's why she voted for Nicole, because Nicole stabbed her in the front instead. I guess.
So we're assuming that Davonne didn't tell, or sorry, that this week I'm going to die. Okay. So that Danny and Nicole did not tell Davonne that they were voting to keep her, or they were going to vote.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that's what is assumed. Okay, and that she found out everything in the goodbye messages. That's what I was confused
by.
No,
I'm sorry. Okay, so Danny and Nicole, Davonne didn't find out from Danny and Nicole that David actually didn't flip, and it was in fact Nicole that flipped, and that's what she found out in the goodbye message. What she was referring to, I believe, like Elena said, which was in BB18, when Nicole like basically told her before, which I mean, forgive me, everyone who's on this, who watches this, that I'm not a BB historian, but like, I'm pretty sure that what happened was that Nicole did tell Davonne, she's like, I'm sorry, I have to cut you. Like, I really wanted to work with you and everything, but what's best for my game is for you to go or something. And I think that's what Davonne was referring to in her final plea.
Okay, gotcha.
It's very confusing, but I mean, seriously, the fact that the feeds weren't here, like, really keeps us in the dark. It's like, what happened during that time, and why?
As much as everybody like goes back and says, well, based on watching them play this year or last season, this is what I think they're going to do this season. even that's hard to manage, because you can even try to guess somebody's vote based on what they did last time, but their entire persona, mindset, gameplay, who they are as a person can be completely different. So it's just, I guess the gamble is all of it, like just trying to determine anything, which is the game.
I think that's a really good point, because we've talked to a bunch of people too, like this season. Thanks, Rachel. Jason, we talked to Jason, and we talked to, I was being serious. What are you talking about?
A shout out to the Russell Hans show there.
Oh, yeah.
Russell.
Russell Hans.
Hey, Russell. Thanks. I think that it's a really good point, because like you said, if you go into this house with all these different people, it's a completely different game. It's not the same game that you played before. And so why would you, I think you have similarities, but like Elena, would you do anything different? Like if you had gone back in this season, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, that's actually where that thought came from, because I hadn't thought about it quite yet. And even till you brought that up about Davonne, but it's like making the point that, we watched her play in the past, so we're going to assume she's going to vote based on honesty because that's what she did in the past. That might not happen. Like, I'm 3 years post Big Brother 19. I'm truly a completely different human being, like a completely different person. And I think that I would play a completely different game. I think that the gameplay in the house would be different. I think everything about it would be different. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me though. Yeah. Maybe everybody else is going in there trying to play the exact same game. Maybe nobody else evolves. Maybe everybody else is really stagnant in life and super lame. I'm not sure.
Rachel, you've mentioned a couple times that you kind of feel like no one in this house, at least at this point, is having like really any fun when it comes down to it. Do you still feel that way, or has that changed in the past few weeks? Or has it gotten worse?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like anyone's having like a ton of fun. I don't know. It just feels very Elena knows, as being an entertainment icon herself.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah. No.
And having a bomb ass personality, it's just, again, we're just lacking those. We're lacking those personalities. We got Enzo.
Yeah, and I didn't even really like him his first season, poor guy. So, like, the fact that he's my saving grace this season truly says a lot. Like, he's the guy I brought Enzo up in show interviews where they would be like, hey, who would you like hate to see in the house? And I'm like, listen, on God, Enzo. Because I cannot.
Why Enzo?
So weird.
I don't know. I just don't like Enzo. I think
he's such like a random person to hate.
I know. I think I've decided or determined, and it's like no offense to half of the country, that I just like don't love people from like the super, super Northeast. And I had like a half realization of that before I went on the show. And then what I did was get a boyfriend from there. So if that gives you like a peek into where I was at in my life, maybe it makes sense like why I didn't win the show at the time, because I truly was not making great choices. What were we talking about?
Amazing.
Let's dive
whatever
into
you want to talk about.
Yeah, let's read.
This is the Elena show now.
Yeah.
Honestly, God, thank you so much. I've been waiting for one of these.
Oh my God, no, this is great. I mean, seriously, it's interesting to hear like that same perspective, because your perspective, because it's like, why, people are different, and people do grow all the time, and it's like all these people have already played this game, so it is interesting that like it's interesting that people aren't having any fun though. Like what Rachel says, it's like why are you not taking more risks, or like showing everybody what like a fun people from Big Brother, like all these people that every beloved people do, it's like, it's just disheartening.
Maybe now that the fantastic twist of Dr. Will, the epic twist, will now bring some entertainment.
That wink. Do you see that little wink he tossed us?
Yeah.
Which one?
That little, I'm gonna walk away. No, I'm back. Okay,
I just
walk away.
I just really wish, I don't understand, because we're in an all-star season, why there are no jury buybacks, why there was no, I wanted a buyback. Like, that is, I wanted something different. I want somebody new to come in. Hell, stick in 2 different all-stars, send in me and Elena and see what happens.
Yes. We are on board. We are on board with that.
Elena, I will say what was weird was that when they said somebody that you all know, I was expecting you to be the neighbor. And then you just like pop up, because I don't know if y'all have seen her little reenactments that she posts on her YouTube, or on her Instagram. They're very hilarious.
IGTV and YouTube channel, even though I haven't announced that I have a YouTube channel. Bryce have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. But it's
cool.
Very, very entertaining and funny.
Thank you so much.
The video that you posted like at the beginning, right when the season started, was hilarious. About like that was
6 more.
Yeah, there's a whole series.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna follow now.
Green screened myself into every single episode.
Yeah,
this is how extra I am. I can't even stand myself. I hired a producer in the middle of a worldwide pandemic to quit her job from Viacom CBC in Nashville and move to Fort Worth, a city she'd never been to before.
You must be paying her very well.
She married a week before into an apartment she'd never seen before. Honestly, I'm so manipulative. I truly don't know how I didn't win Big Brother.
How did you not win the show?
I don't know. But I hired a producer. We have a green screen. I have an entire studio. I have four ring lights, an entire camera system, a tripod. I got batteries in every single plug in my house. It's a situation up in here. And it's ridiculous. And I know that. And a lot of people are talking shit about it. But you know what? Thank you for talking about me.
Hey, what? Who's talking shit about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like half of the people that know I exist.
Oh, God.
Well, forget that. I'm just very envious that you're that self-motivated. Like, congratulations.
Thank you so much. My doctors finally figured out my meds. Swear.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm a new person.
Brand new. My meds out.
Brand new gal.
So what you were talking about is that, so Dr. Will is the new neighbor.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think what's interesting is that he, like, what do you think is going to, how do you think he's going to shake up the game? I was thinking the same thing you did. I was like, why don't they throw him in the house?
This isn't going to shake the game up. This is just this is just for pure entertainment and comedy. Like, this is going to be what I mean. What is he going to do? Is he going to be up there and go, "Hey, David, Kevin, you get it together. There's another alliance called the Committee." Yeah, they're coming.
Be the wall yeller.
Yeah,
I think. What if like one of the prizes is a cool sculpting session with Dr. Will? What if that's
that would be great? I would take that up.
Honestly,
product placement for his
I recommend
his
it.
practice.
It's done wonders for my body.
Well, okay, so
from Dr. Will though.
we did.
Dr. Will does not get to see me naked. Simply never.
Same.
Okay, they asked us to get back to game, people. Ranger Rick asked us to get back to game. But wait, so I will say that we did find out for the very first time next week there will be a triple eviction, which means there will likely be an eviction at the top of the show, then an HOH competition, then a POV, then a second eviction, then another HOH, then another POV, followed by a third eviction in 2 hours. That's a total of 4 competitions. Like, really, they're doing this during COVID, I guess. So, Rachel, who is winning this first HOH comp that will then nominate the person that will go right at the top of the show next week? Who do you think it's going to be? I
think it's going to be Kevin. I'm going to just put that out in the universe. I really want a Kevin HOH after this whole David debacle now. I mean, he's going after Nicole and Danny, which is fine too, because I mean, we want to see 2 committee members on the block, but yes. I would really rather see like a Memphis and Memphis and a Tyler, a Memphis and a Cody, because I'm just because I am a woman empowerment. Like I love to see a male go home. There's too many males in the house right now, so a male needs to hit the road. Memphis. So if we could just
tight.
Yeah. So Kevin will win, and I think he'll nominate Memphis and Tyler or Cody.
Ooh, okay. Mark, what about you? What do you thinking?
I don't know if Memphis would actually play for it. I'd like to see David win it, and like Rachel said.
You're saying because Danny offered may offer Memphis her whatever power that is. Wow, I'm terrible host.
I don't know. I'll ask David what the power is. I think
power, whatever.
I think even if he gets the power, which I mean, it would be stupid of her not to use it on him. That'd be a great opportunity to frame him for something.
Right.
I don't know if he wants it. He's gotten enough blood on his hands at this point. He's got his 2 final 3 deals, which how great is it that Christmas is in an alliance that's adjacent to the 3 wise men? Keeping it with the Christmas thing. I know that sucked. You deserve better than that. I'm sorry. That sucked. Yeah,
I was like, honestly, you know where I went? I was like, 3 wise men in this Big Brother house? Who's wise? Like that's like initially where my mind went, and then I was like, oh no, it's a Christmas joke. It's fine. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you were quicker than I was, because I was like, wait, what? But I'm really slow on the uptick. Elena, what about you? Who would you want to win the HOH with this HOH? Your buddy Enzo?
No. If I was HOH, I would probably put up Cody and Memphis. If anything went wrong, Enzo, sorry, my guy. But I would like to see Kevin or David, honestly, just because I'm just like a traditional Big Brother content consumer, and I like to root for the underdog.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that Danny and Nicole are in a lot of trouble going into this triple eviction. I think they are prime for the chopping block, and I imagine that one of them will be going home. I don't know which one yet.
But which one do y'all all want to go home?
I would probably say Nicole, and I am a Franzel stan, so like I like her, but I do think that she should probably go home, only because I think that Danny has played a better more manipulative game, and I think Danny deserves to stay. Whereas if Nicole can pull off, like if she gets on the block and she wins POV, takes herself off, like I would be okay. That might be a little bit different story, but I just kind of feel like I don't know what the house is thinking though, because if I'm looking at it from a perspective of like a Cody, like if Cody's HOH during the double eviction, who's he going to nominate? Because I feel like he would probably have Nicole's back over Danny's, but I don't know that for sure anymore. So it would be really interesting. I would hope that he would win like in the middle of that, because he'd really have to show his cards at a certain point. But I just feel like these guys are just going to steamroll the rest of these girls. Christmas might be the last one left now. But there we go.
I mean, after this whole 3-person alliance thing that Memphis did, which I was actually impressed by.
Rachel, can you speak a little bit louder into the microphone for that?
I was impressed by. But yeah, so what is wrong with my train of thought?
Dude, it's swear to God, it's all. It's
like in the energy. It's like in the air. Okay,
mine has not left the station.
All right. No, I've lost my train of thought. Just keep going.
You were talking about Memphis, and you said it was a good move for the Wise Men Alliance to have.
Yeah. Sorry. So
the wise guys. Sorry, not the wise men. God damn it, Mark.
Sorry, I'm trying to make frankincense of all of this.
All right, that was good. You got to do the jingle. Come on, you're right. There we go.
Wow.
I got Rachel as backup now. Thank you.
Rachel with a tambourine.
Yeah, so I just think Christmas is going to go very far. That's why I think she's going to be the last girl.
What I will say is, like Rachel and I mentioned earlier, is that this season has been boring, right? Like every single episode, I feel like watching it, when I do watch it, I just like feel like I'm like tense, like squeezing my like asshole. And I don't enjoy that feeling. So that's why I'm watching less and less. But a triple eviction, I'm into it. If I was the Big Brother house guest, I would not be into it. But as a former Big Brother washed up has been, everybody hates their house guests, watch it from home, I'm into it. Yeah. I think everybody's cards are going to be shown. I think a lot of people we don't like might actually leave. And I think that I might not even have to be so drunk to enjoy this one.
Yeah. Well, I think another positive. I'm not going
to risk it. I'm still going to get hammered. But I'm just saying, like, it could happen.
I think another benefit of the triple is that I feel like it opens the door for a jury buyback. We might get one person to come back in, and that would be amazing after, like you said, everyone's cards are going to be on the table. Mm-hmm. So there's this big shitstorm, and then someone comes right back in. Yeah,
I'm ready for next week. I'm ready for next week because this episode is boring.
Yeah.
I actually didn't mind this. I really didn't mind this episode. I thought it was actually very like powerful and emotional, and like it was all like. I mean, I felt very compelled the whole time. At least
when it comes to Davonne's speech, that was the best part of the entire show because we had spoken earlier about Davonne and what we thought of that speech. I was moved because she went in there with a purpose and she went in there for a reason and a mission and to get her message out there. And I was moved by that because just to see somebody stand up so wholeheartedly and be so confident and do that, that's what got me emotional because I was like, that is so amazing that she came here and she did what she wanted to accomplish.
Absolutely.
So,
I thought her.
I was bored.
I agree with you. Go ahead, Elena.
I was just gonna say I just agree. I didn't catch the beginning of the episode because I was like taking a nap.
You were just preparing to watch the episode by taking.
Honestly, and I knew I had this tonight too. So, but my bad. And it just because the topic is Davonne, I wanted to be honest, and I know she loves that. But I'm not a big Davonne fan necessarily. Her and I aren't friends. But what I will say is she is the kind of person that when she speaks, it kind of stops the room. And she's very, very powerful and very thoughtful with the words she chooses. And she delivers it really well. And so being in there with a mission, her being the one in there with a mission is just, I think that it was perfect because she does such a great job at communicating and getting somebody's attention. But, and I mean, she has funny DRs too. So I'll take that as well. But yeah, her goodbye little eviction situation speech was pretty spot on, pretty powerful.
Yeah, it was really and so heartfelt and everything. I really loved how she called back to other Black, African Americans, Black people that have gone into the house and stuff. And I just hope that moving forward in the future that we do see more people of color and more people who are, marginalized or LGBTQ plus, all of those people should be in this house, and it shouldn't just be so cookie cutter all the time. And so I hope that this does move the needle. And if she did that tonight, she succeeded. So props to her. Okay, I want to just before we go, I want to quickly move on to a new segment that I'm calling Inside the House. See what I did there? Rachel, thank you. Rachel, you were on the Sarah Scoop show. I'm not a stalker, I promise. But you were on the Sarah Scoop show this week, and you mentioned how you were convinced that you could be on Big Brother in the first place because you talked to somebody who was also an entertainer from BB19. You don't have to name that person, even though I want you to. But when you share that story with us really quickly, how did you know that you could be on this show? How did you know you could be on Big Brother?
like, how did I gain the confidence to audition?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was because I thought as an entertainer, I wasn't up to date with all the reality shows. I just thought that they would look at me and they'd be like, oh, well, she's a performer. She's doing this to be on screen. Because I feel like in the earlier reality days, that's how it was. Like they just wanted regular, like average everyday job type people. I didn't think they would want entertainers on a reality show. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe that's how
I was an entertainer on a reality show too.
Yeah. So I got the confidence because Jackie Ibarra is a Vegas performer. She was then. And I found out she was on the show and I said, oh, a Vegas performer. I was like, if she can get on the show, I can get on the show. So I was like, I'm going to audition. And so that's why I auditioned, because there was a Vegas performer on the show. And since that's what I was doing, was like, okay.
Was the first season you auditioned my season, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so you auditioned in 19 and then you got on 20.
I auditioned for 19.
In my finals.
Elena was in my finals. I was sitting with her. And funny enough, I don't know if I've ever told you this, Elena. I think I might have. I thought she was a bitch. Like me looking at her. There was I was looking at her and I remember thinking to myself, oh, this girl's probably going to be like a bitch. I don't know. I
really thought you were a bitch too.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, until we were walking back in the hotel and you did this little like dance move. And then I was like, no, I got her wrong. She's an NBA cheerleader and a bitch.
Wait, did I really do some dance thing?
Uh-huh.
No, I don't.
You were just excited. You were like having a time. You were like, and it was just like a cute little thing. I didn't know that you were a bitch.
Elena, what about you? How did you gain the confidence to like be on the show? How did you know you wanted to do that? How did you know you wanted to do Big Brother?
Oh, I quit my job.
That was your inciting event. I was like, I'm going to quit my job and go Big Brother.
I have to do something for a little bit of time. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not really kidding. I got a DM. I was recruited. And so I got a DM from a lady. And I was like, yeah, I've seen Big Brother. I like Big Brother. And no, don't torture me. And
well, that's cool too. I mean, like that's amazing. Like, it's just cool that you were able to like have the confidence to just like go on there. You know what I mean? Like that's hard. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, I just last minute went for it. It was like, I'll probably never get it. So I'll just try. And I got it.
Well, Clinton Merchant said, I'm thinking about auditioning for the show, even though I have a disability.
Do it.
No, do it. Go after that could actually work to your advantage. So don't let anything like that deter you from going for your dreams. But no, I'm being serious.
I think that's great advice. And listen to two people who have been on the show right now too, Clinton.
Yeah. So I can't believe you thought I was a bitch.
I was a bitch. Oh wait, I kind of am a bitch though. So,
but I changed my mind when I watched the show. I was like, oh no, she's cool.
Oh, thanks.
I actually like it from the show.
And now you guys can do this together.
I know. She's one of my besties.
All right, so now I'd like to end the show with final thoughts. So what do you guys want? I want to know what do you hope happens this week? I think we kind of already said it, but is there anything like through line that you like? Elena, let's start with you. What do you think? What do you want to happen this week?
Just the craziest shit ever. That's what I want. The absolute craziest thing to happen, whatever that is. Lord.
All right. All right, Rachel.
Yeah, I want Dr. Will. So what I really think is going to happen, Dr. Will is actually going to go back into the house. Okay. And
that'd be amazing.
Yeah. And he's going to align with Kevin and David. And they are going to take over the house. And then
Memphis, hair removal.
Yeah. And then Memphis is going to go first. And then Cody. And then Nicole. That's what's going to happen.
Bye.
That is what I believe will happen next week.
Bye.
All right, Mark, what about you?
You got to say bye to the hairs.
To piggyback on that, I think Dr. Will is going to go back in the house and he's going to come in with Botox and fillers and just do a total makeover on everyone.
But he can do a game makeover.
Yeah.
I agree with Elena. I just want the craziest shit ever to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I also finally. Oh, Mark, I'm sorry. I think I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Nothing of value.
Oh, well, don't say that, Mark. All right. So I do want to leave you guys with, we didn't really get to the zings, but I want to leave you with the best one, which was Zingbutts said, Nicole, I wrote a song for you. Here comes the bride. She loves to whine and cry. Every time I hear her voice, I want to bleeping die. Mazel tov, zing.
I was like, woo.
That was rough, but that was
He's
the
probably gonna cry about it. TBH, she's probably gonna cry. She probably already has cried about it. Probably gonna cry.
Real cry about it, yeah.
These are not fake tears.
All right, well, that's our show. Once again, if you don't want to miss a moment, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which we're on right now, and also hit that notification bell so you know when you can take part in our live episodes. Subscribe and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts by searching Outside the House in the search bar, and make sure to follow the show on Instagram at From Outside the House and on Twitter at Outside BB House. And our personal socials are plastered all over those accounts too. We will see you next Thursday right after the triple eviction. Once again, a huge thank you to Elena Davies for being here with us. You can follow her on Instagram and Twitter at Elena Davies. Thank you so much.
Elena, is there anything like that you're working on?
Yes, please.
Coming up soon, like that you want to promote or
plug away?
I am working on something. Not gonna plug it yet. Super annoying. Don't you hate when people do that? But
well, okay, Elena, tell everybody where they can watch her. Tell everybody where they can watch your Big Brother videos.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry, God, just Mark, use my microphone.
That's my biggest plug. I am having so much fun with Blair making these videos. They're on my IGTV. Miscellaneous Big Brother All-Stars 2 recap videos. I make one for every week of gameplay in the house, and they're also on YouTube under Miscellaneous. And I have a podcast every week that Rachel's been on as well. It's called the Miscellaneous Podcast. Everything's linked on my Instagram, though, at Elena Davies, ELENADAVIES. And I hope that you follow me because I'm super fun.
Yeah. Everybody, please go follow her and go listen to her podcast every week. Mm-hmm. Rachel, do you want to tell everyone about all of your projects that you have?
No. I'm just kidding. I don't. I do a show called the Ava and Rachel Show. This is with a girl that I went to college with, and we just kind of touch on like entertainment and news and just whatever's trending in the world at that particular moment. So it's a really cute show. We have two totally different, diverse looks and backgrounds. So we make for a really good time. And so I'm doing that. And then good old armchair All-Stars. So
that's on Tuesdays on the TV, only on the TV.
It's on the TV Co-op on Tuesdays. So go and check it out.
All right, thanks guys for being here. We'll see you all next Thursday from outside the Big Brother house. This has been Outside the House. And remember, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Good night.
Good night, everyone.